crispy.
What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Figures in Action and another review. Apparently I don't review figures, but I do review figures. But more than anything, man, I just really I love action figures, man. I love everything about action figures. I love the fact that for the most part it starts off as this concept of seeing a particular character and putting him into plastic form. And I love everything that goes behind it. Everything from the concept to creating, deciding what you're going to use for body molds, articulation is going to work, to what weapons you're going to use, the packaging, the color, all of that. As an artist, I've always been intrigued by the whole concept of action figures, and I've always looked at them as artwork, you know what I mean? So a lot of times, yes, they're toys, I get it. This is what we had as young kids, and this is what we bought our kids when they were growing up. But ultimately, I've been a collector for a long time, and I can appreciate a good action figure. And so I was at Target, as apparently I live there now. It's my second home. And I was there just grabbing some stuff for the house, and I said, let me stroll into the action figure aisle. And I look to my right, and I see this guy. I see a couple guys. I see that, man, what's the name of the big cat that has the big muscles? And I also see this dude, and instantly gravitate, my eye gravitate towards him, as that colorway is pretty unique. And I actually think I might have packaged him wrong. I opened it up and checked it out a little bit, put him back in the package just for this. But what intrigued me right away was the fact that it looked like it had two heads. It looked like, it had a couple weapons, and I saw that it had a 40 points of articulation, and then I kind of looked a little closer, and just the paint looked great. So I said, you know what, let me grab this figure. I don't play Fortnite. Every time I go to my boy Enrique's crib, and I'm there quite often these days, he's playing, and he's online, and it's his brothers, and basically everyone he's playing with I know personally. So it's like everyone plays except me. But I really just do not want to donate any time to this video game. I'm pretty sure I'd enjoy it, but it's just a lot on my table. So in the meantime, grab this up, and it looked really interesting, and so I'm going to review it here, and let's see what you guys think. So the packaging is pretty interesting. I noticed that I actually opened it from the bottom, but I noticed that if you cut there's like 4 tabs here. If you cut the tape off of them, it kind of just opens up, which is pretty interesting. But regular packaging is, all the information at the bottom there. Same picture on this side as there is on this side. The back has not too much information. It tells you that it's a 6-inch figure, and it includes 7 accessories. Gives you a couple of pictures of some of those other action figures that this line has. This was the guy that I saw. He looked pretty cool. I actually saw this guy too. And yeah, man, this is actually by the same company. This is Jazwares, which is the same company that created the Conor McGregor figure that I reviewed a week or 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was. So the first thing I noticed about the box is it's definitely way more in line with what Marvel Legends and Black Figure is releasing in terms of the quality of the packaging, versus the Conor McGregor. The cardboard, it looked kind of like this cheap cardboard was used for the packaging. So wanted to point that out, and let's rip into this bad boy. Alright, so here's a look at the figure out of the package with all the accessories in front of it. It comes with 2 weapons. It comes with that sickle. I don't know, it's probably not a sickle, but all the it looks like all the characters in Fortnite get that weapon. That's what they always have. And apparently the guns and so forth, when they land and start a mission, the guns are not there. They have to find those, but they always get that little sickle type. So originally, which I thought were interchangeable heads, are actually face plates. It's probably the best way to describe them. So it comes with a backpack that you pour right into the back. It comes with an oversized grenade, as that grenade is huge, out of scale with this figure, but I'm pretty sure there's a reason for that. The 2 face plates, the 2 weapons, and the figure itself. As you look at the figure, just standing kind of, I don't know, standing there in a relaxed pose. I had it in a better relaxed pose, but it's really difficult to... The setup I'm using is difficult because I'm using paper that kind of doesn't help flatten out the surface. But either way, we're gonna go through the articulation and discuss some of the things that I think are really cool and some of the things that I think could have been done better or done differently, you know, just based on my opinion. So let's get into that. So two of the things that I instantly recognized was the fact that it has finger joints, or man, it's not, I guess they're finger joints, but they're not individual finger joints, but he can open his hand as there's a hinge inside of his hand. We don't see that often, and it's kind of cool. And I guess when I first saw it, my first thought was, well, how does he hold his guns? But you know what, surprisingly, you know, you would think that because with a hinged hand that it would be, I don't know, I mean, maybe because it's new and it's still tight, but it holds it pretty good. I mean, it trigger finger is you know, molded in a way where it sticks out, so it's kind of lands right on the gun perfectly, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good for a hinge, you know, which is something we don't see. And then the other thing I noticed is toe articulation. Man, we haven't seen this in quite some time, since the Toy Biz days. So that was pretty cool. I mean, they boast 40 points of articulation, so that's a lot. So one of the first things that I did do instantly is, as soon as I got the figure, it was really tight, man. It was, I shouldn't say tighter than most figures, because recently a lot of figures I've been opening up are super tight. So I took the heat gun and I started kind of just pointing it right at the at all the places where I felt it was susceptible to break. So right at the knees, right at the elbows, the joint a little bit. But let's go a little bit over the articulation and what this has to offer. So first and foremost, the head does look up pretty well. Doesn't look down too well unless you kind of turn it, and then you get a little bit better range of motion, because the kind of the handkerchief or the you know, it allows it on this corner here to kind of bend down because of the way it's molded. But if you put it over here, it's not going to go down any further because it's kind of being hindered by this here. So I wish they would have done it, because I feel like they still could have done it where maybe they would have lowered this, or even just eliminated this top part here, and it would just give more range of motion in terms of looking down. But you know, if you do put him to the side, he does look down a little bit. Head spins all the way around, and it does not have any pivot on the neck. The arms go all the way up. It does have a butterfly joint, and I have to double check, but I mean, is it usually on the back and the front? Probably. But it does have a butterfly joint. And it does, let me see. And again, these are like super tight, so I just want to be careful. So when you kind of, it does kind of go in that much. So that's not bad. I always appreciate when it has the butterfly joints, as it gives just much bigger, better range of motion. The arms do go all the way up this far, and they do spin around. Although it's a little tight, but they do spin around. Double jointed elbows. When I first started messing with them, it was kind of difficult to get this other joint to kind of, you know, but once you work it a little bit, it does have a awesome range of motion there. There's a bicep swivel there as well. Spin all the way around. The articulation at the chest, stomach area is interesting. So they do have a cut, so you can go from side to side, and you know, but for some reason it's high. Like, they could have snuck it right under here, or in between the belt. I don't, and even it definitely this wouldn't have hindered it, because if you can see, this would not have gone in the way if you would have done the cut here versus doing it a little bit higher. It does look back a little bit, not too much, and then forward. The crunch is it's okay. It's not the best we've seen. When it comes to the legs, they do split out this much. This one is hindered here by the little pack on the side, so it won't go as high as this guy here. But then you have the thigh swivel, which is great. Then you have double jointed knee. Same thing. When I first started to kind of mess with them, it would kind of stay stuck there, and I worked it. But this is about as much as you're gonna get with this, as the clothes kind of hinder that. It does have a knee pad, which is interesting because if you're posing it in a certain way, it's possible for the knee pad to kind of become unaligned, I guess, if that's a word, from the knee itself, and it kind of does look at a little funny. I wish this would have been, I don't know, maybe a removable piece or what have you. But that's cool. It still looks good. And then in terms of the ankle, there is no real rocker. It does go this far back, so that's not bad. And it does go forward this much, which is a lot better than Legends, to be completely honest with you. With Legends, you get like maybe a click. With this, you get several clicks back and forth, so that's pretty cool. And you do get that toe joint that is come all the way down there, flexes up to about that high. So in terms of the articulation, again, it boasts 40 points of articulation, and in fact it does have a lot of articulation. The wrists themselves just kind of have the up and down. They spin around, but they don't do the side. They don't have the side to side hinge, just kind of the up and down hinge. And then interestingly enough, the kind of the strap here, which I kind of peeled it back a little bit, it does have like, it has a slot for the strap, but the slot is bigger than the little peg thing here, which is kind of weird. But that piece seems to be just glued on there, and if you take it off, you'll see that it's not painted underneath, so it's something that was meant to stay on there. These look like those dog tags that the soldiers use, and yeah, so I like the way it looks aesthetically. I think it looks great. I love the color. I love kind of the wrinkles. I wish they would have had some texture. I think it would have looked good, kind of how the Vipers had. And I wish that there would have been more details on the bags, maybe some buttons, even in black, because it would have stayed with the colorway it's using. I wish this wasn't sticking up. This is kind of weird, I wish it would have just been kind of molded where it's laying flat down, because I mean, the wind's not always going to be whipping at you, you know what I mean? I like that they added detail all the way in the back as well. That looks good. And yeah, so that's the articulation. Then we can go. Let's go over a little bit over the accessories first and foremost. So this basically has, if you can see there, you can kind of see the line there where it separates from the face. So this is just a face plate. We've seen this before with SH Figure Arts, and recently Star Wars did something recently. Did I just say recently? Recently, Star Wars recently released that Hoth Rebel Trooper, and it's not necessarily the same type of faceplate, because it's just the inside. Here you get the entire face and half the head, or 3/4 of the, a bigger percentage of the head, which is kind of cool because it gives you, when you plug them in, it doesn't look bad. It looks like it belongs. Like that's how it's supposed to be. Like that's part of the look. So I don't think it looks bad. So it comes with this face, which is kind of the I'm gonna get you sucker face. Then it has the oh no, you got me face. I like this face. And then the one that it came with is just the original, or just the packaged face. The paint job on these are great. I mean, this looks amazing. It's funny because for a long time, Marvel Legends was just doing these, especially the females. Like the eyes were always just far apart from each other, and like this looks really good. Like the paint is on point. I mean, even around the teeth look good. The eyebrows look amazing. I mean, even here where they actually kind of take the eyebrow and kind of do a little bit of the Rock Sizz. So that's cool too. So the face plates are actually pretty cool. I like those a lot. Then you have these guns. I like this gun. I think this gun looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know about the colors, but I think just the look of it itself, the detail that it has here, like the little clips there, and the fact that it's kind of a copper gunmetal metallic type of look there. versus the silver. Looks really good. But I love that they kind of gave it this wash, and actually looks dirty. Like it looks like I wipe it down. It looks pretty dirty. So I like this weapon. Not so much this one. I'm not really feeling this one. This is a lot real similar to what we've been getting with a lot of other figures. That's just looks like a sci-fi type deal, but it makes sense with this game. Just don't like this too much. Not as many details. Like even here, they could have painted the strap in silver and they didn't. So not too fond of that one. Then this came out pretty good. The paint job on it's pretty decent. Yeah. And then we have the grenade, which is dope. I love that they painted it. I mean, the precision on the paint is great. I love that they even painted the silver on the ring there. It's just huge. It's just a big grenade. So I don't know if this may just be part of the game when you throw this, confetti comes out of it. I don't know. But it looks pretty good. And then the backpack, I just noticed this right now. Jeez, that looks bad. The fact that they had to put all these numbers on there looks kind of weird. But besides that, there's a little bit of paint, a little bit of a situation here on the tooth above the green there, and a little bit on the nose. But besides that, again, the paint came out great. I mean, the yellow on the zipper looks pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad looking. Then I noticed at the back, it looks like it was made like it was two pieces. Like this piece just plugs in. I wish they would have made it so that you can store these guys inside of here. Or, you know, I think two of them would have fit, or maybe one. But that would have been cool. You know, it's too bad that they didn't do that. So that looks pretty good. And then we'll just do a couple of size comparisons and we will get. Alright, here is the Skull Trooper next to Conor McGregor from the same line. To his left, my right, and then you have Bullseye from the Toy Biz lines to my left into the Skull Trooper's right. And this was the one of the last figures that had the toe articulation, the hand articulation. Although Bullseye's hands articulate a little bit differently, as it was individual finger articulation versus just the entire hand. So you were able to get very creative with this guy. I'm pretty sure that's how Conor McGregor feels right now. And here is the Skull Trooper next to a Marvel Legends Red Ninja. That was an army builder in the most recent Marvel Legends wave. And that is to the Skull Trooper's left, my right. And then we have a Ninja Army builder for the G.I. Joe Retaliation line. So you get an idea of kind of the size there. Real similar in size. And all three of these are army builders, as you know, you can say that this Skull Trooper is absolutely an army builder. And here he is next to an Optimus Prime RED figure that apparently no one but me and like 3 people like. And then we have a Hoth Rebel Trooper to the left of this Skull Trooper. So you get an idea of how it compares to the 6-inch Star Wars Black Series lines and the Transformers 6-inch RED line. And here he is next to the Marvel Legends Into the Spider-Verse wave Miles Morales and a Mogwai, but the Mogwai with the crazy eyes. So yeah, it compares really well to these figures. I mean, in this particular case, it's a little small next, or it looks a little small next to Miles. But I mean, who is to say troopers have to be 6'3"? They could just be 5'11" and still be just as vicious. But overall, I actually enjoyed this figure. Again, it's not something I'm probably going to collect. It's not a line that I'm going to collect. But it's something that looked interesting enough, and I enjoy action figures. So I figured it'd be cool to check it out. And actually, you know what? I actually on clearance, I was able to find another Fortnite figure, and this is from. This was from the McFarlane. So it looks like Jazwares just took over this line. So McFarlane was the one that was doing this line last year. This new Skull Trooper is a 2021 release. So that's what it says on the packaging. And it looks like last year McFarlane, in the prior years, McFarlane had the license to that. So this is one of the figures that it's like, I guess let me just get another one. It was on clearance for like $7 or $8. It looked pretty cool. It had that real deranged bunny on the back. I love the way his eyes look. Mad creepy. But yeah, it was it's cool to have two of these guys, so I'll probably set up a shot with them and see how that comes out. But thank you very much for joining me. I'm not really good at these reviews. I guess I'll get better if I continue doing them. I stumble a lot on my words and shit, so hopefully it was enough for you to make a decision on whether you wanted to get this skull figure or not. And we'll talk again, y'all. Peace.